there was one point in my life where I didn't even know I was circular breathing. But to sing notes, I was circular breathing.
No, you can circular breathe, dude.
The thing is, I can't do it unless I don't think about it. But like if I find a song and I'm singing it and I need that breath support, it just happens. I don't know how else to explain it.
Hey, Casey, let's start this thing.
Yeah.
Starting it off with this cheers.
Yeah.
Espresso cheers.
Espresso cheers.
I got an espresso machine thanks to Manila.
Mm-hmm.
How is it?
That is good.
Dude, I've become
Very
such a
rich.
dark coffee drinker. Ladies and gentlemen, the KC Sutton. Kenneth, right?
Yeah.
What's the S?
Sutton.
Oh, wait, it's Kenneth Sutton.
No, it's KC, so it's Kenneth Christopher Sutton.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking KS and got all excited thinking it's KC. No. Yeah, all right, KC. So, you know how fucking Joe Rogan will say, like, the great and powerful?
Yeah.
My new thing is going to be the Casey, the Isaiah, because I think it was Kendall Hamilton at my graduation. She announced my name as the Jason Turner, and so now I gotta keep the tradition going on.
It just sounds powerful, you know.
The sounds more biblical,
right? Yeah,
like it's epic. All right, so also let's start this off if you don't mind.
Yeah, 1800.
Yeah, this is some fancy tequila that my sister got in Zacatecas when she was there this summer, and it's cheap there but expensive here.
Huh.
So have you ever had this?
I have not.
Here, let me give you a pour.
I've had basic old 1800, but
Wait.
nothing like this. This looks real fancy.
There's a little swish. It's pretty good.
I don't think I've ever had good tequila. Like, I've had mezcal, you know, with the little worm in it.
No way.
Yeah.
How was that? Did you trip?
I like chugged it. I was at
Thank you, Keisha. All right, you were where?
I was at Annabelle's birthday party, his 21st birthday. And they had this big old bottle of mezcal, and they were just pouring little bits of it in there, and they're like, this is really strong. And I was already hammered.
And there's a worm in there?
Yeah, there's a big old worm inside.
All right, cheers, brother. Tell me how you like it.
Wow. That is so smooth.
Right? Like, it doesn't make you crazy. That
No.
is strong, but smooth. Yeah.
It's like good moonshine, dude.
Now follow that up with an espresso. We're going to be all wired up. Yeah, I become such a black coffee drinker. Is that what we were talking about before we started? Or right when we started?
Yep.
I became such a black coffee drinker. I got Mark Tonge on it now too. And last time he was here doing this podcast with me,
Yeah.
I made him a cup of coffee and he was like freaking out.
It's so strong.
Because we grew up Mormon, so we don't drink coffee, you know?
Right. I always forget you guys grew up Mormon. And then, you know, I'm a mechanic, and so my mouth ain't always clean. And I get around your dad, and he's just glaring at me.
Nah, no way.
Sometimes.
No, I cuss all the time around him too. I'm just like, I just be myself.
Well, like I'd go to your house across the street, and you know, we'd be playing games, and I'd be cussing up a storm, and Isaiah's like, "Watch your mouth."
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wait, back in the day,
Back in the day,
like in high school and stuff.
Yep, back when we lived in the hood.
Dude, how long have I known? I can't even think about. I'm trying to think about my earliest memory with you, and I can't.
Yeah, because you were like deployed.
Dude, twist this thing to you. Come on, I can't really hear you too much. Oh, there we go.
Is
I
that
hear
better?
you. Do you hear it better?
Yeah.
Okay, I hear it better.
This is
too.
better.
Yeah.
I just I feel weird because my mustache rubs on mics.
Yeah, it's okay.
And so I just.
It's a nice little brush. ASMR.
Yeah, ASMR mustache. No, but you were deployed when I first met Isaiah. And
really?
So I always saw your motorcycles in the backyard.
Oh, really?
I was like, these are cool.
When on 13th Street?
No, before that.
12th?
On 12th Street, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was right around the corner, and so when I was walking home, I'd walk past your house, and Isaiah's walking the same place. He's like, you don't play Call of Duty? I'm like, what's Call of Duty? Because I hadn't played hardly any video games up until middle school.
What grade are you in now?
Grade am I in now?
No, at the moment of the story.
Moment, that was sixth.
Not today.
Wait a minute. That was sixth grade.
Oh, sixth grade. Okay.
Yeah, Isaiah and I were best friends right away. Started playing games and whatnot, and Yeah, we were just walking the same route home because I walked past your guys' own house on the way to mine.
Oh, yeah,
he's
yeah.
like-
Because you were on 13th at that spot still?
Yeah.
And then we came over to you.
Right.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we saw you all the fucking time. You were always over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like neighbors at that point.
Yeah, just walk across the street.
3 houses away from each other.
Yeah. Just like my mom tells me to do the garbage, I'm like, screw that. I'm going to Isaiah's.
Literally, you'd always be there. Whenever I'd come over or be on leave or anything,
Yeah.
I feel like you were hanging out. You guys were all gaming or something.
Oh, yeah.
Watching anime, something of the
Always.
sort.
Yeah.
What has Isaiah made you watch anime-wise?
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so Naruto was the first thing, and then Dragon Ball. Because every time I'd come over, when I first met Isaiah, it was Naruto. And so I've watched every last episode of Naruto, but not in order. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah. So every time I go over, he's
Bullshit.
watching.
He doesn't know.
He's watching something
You
else.
think you have. Not every episode.
Dude, I swear.
A lot.
'Cause-
You've seen the whole story, though.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I'll watch
Just random,
I'll
sporadic
watch,
story moments.
You know, like Facebook. You scroll through Facebook and you see like a random episode of
Yeah.
Naruto or something, and like I remember watching this, and it's like halfway through the show, and I'm like, I swear this was like the first thing I watched.
All right, dude, here's the real quiz. What's your favorite Naruto era? Like the story, what's going on? What's your favorite
Naruto
era?
era. Oh jeez, probably when he's fighting pain.
Oh my god, me too. I think
Yeah.
that's probably everybody's.
Just because like pausing the show in the middle of that fight is so hilarious.
What?
Because like you during the fight, the drawing animation got absolutely crazy. It's
Oh.
insane. Yeah. And so you pause it at a random spot and someone's face is like stretched all the way across the TV. It just
Oh my
looks
god,
hilarious.
yeah, I never even thought about that.
Yeah,
that's
but-
my favorite part too. As long as Jiraiya is involved, well, up to that point, Jiraiya dies
Yeah.
right before that. So, but Jiraiya era,
Thing is, like timelines, I don't understand at all. So I need to rewatch it from the beginning to the end.
I was just telling Isaiah that I'm at that point. Isaiah's, that's like his favorite show ever. You know
Right.
what? I got Isaiah into anime
You really?
because I showed him Dragon Ball Z clips originally.
Huh.
And then I don't even know how the hell that took off, but that I just dropped a match onto some gasoline on that. He's a ultimate weeb now. He's
Yeah.
seen so many animes.
Isaiah, Phil, those guys got
It's
me
very
watching.
popular now, super popular.
Yeah, those guys really got me watching it. And at first I was like, I don't want to be a weeb. I don't want to be the weird kid watching
A good
anime.
story is a good story, though.
Right. And that's what I really got into. And then I haven't read any mangas yet.
Fuck, dude. We forgot to start with our headsets on. We were gonna start with our VR headsets on.
Damn it.
Yeah, you got a VR headset. All right, what game you been playing? You've been playing Rec Room?
I've been playing, Rec Room quite a bit.
Such a little kid
Right.
looking game. I mean, I've been in there. And there was little kids when I was in there. How's it been for you?
It just depends. Like, you meet people all the time because there's people all over the world play the game. Like, if I get on at midnight, there's people from New Zealand on all the time.
Oh
Or
yeah, there
Australia,
are. Yeah.
Ireland, Japan.
Australians, a lot of Australians
Yes,
on
a
VR.
lot of Australians. And so then, they invite you to different rooms that people have made. And like these people make these rooms from scratch. They start with nothing and create something that looks like a game developer did after like 3 years. The detail's pretty crazy.
Really, I
And-
thought it was like blocks.
That's what it looks like most of the time, but some of the detail
There's some-
people take, like someone recreated Dragon Ball Fighter Z, like the video game for Xbox, and put it on Rec Room.
We're gonna have to go in together. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
give me a little tour around because
It's-
I have not been in there in a while. I'll give you a tour of the metaverse.
Okay,
and
'cause
show
I
you the
haven't
great
been to the
servers.
metaverse yet.
Yeah, we should go on there. There's some cool servers, like fun games. You know what's the one with the hammer and you go higher and higher and higher, and if you fall,
Oh, you and Isaiah were talking about it, but I don't think I've played it.
what? It's a game that people. It's like going up. No, you know what I'm talking about? Streamers,
seen it.
people stream
Yeah.
that game all the time. There's like a guy in a cauldron and he's
Yeah.
got like a big hammer and he goes. He has to climb. with
eventually
this
you get to
hammer.
space.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
crazy stuff.
Yeah, there's a VR version, anyways.
Oh,
and
okay.
fuck, dude, I feel like I know the name of that game. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I just what the.
Eventually you can get like a golden sledgehammer and different stuff.
But if you fall,
You
usually
fall
you might be
all
like
the way
fuck,
back
yeah,
down.
or you might get lucky and fall halfway down or something.
Stick out your hammer
Yeah.
and grab something.
But that game in VR is so fun because you get up to the airplane and then from the airplane you got to
Jeez.
climb higher, and it's just like you start looking down and you're like, oh my god.
I got motion sick the first day I did it because I remember playing on like Isaiah's VR when he first got it, and I played Onward, running around, running, gunning.
Oh my god, yeah, Onward.
And it didn't really bother me. And then I got my VR and I just plugged it in and sat down on my couch and I played for 10 hours straight.
On Onward?
On Onward.
Dude, that is probably a hell of a workout.
Yeah, for real. Because I went from sitting to standing up because I was like, this sucks. I can't turn fast enough.
Yeah.
I can't react. I can't grab my mags. I can't grab my grenades. And so I ended up standing up and I was like sweating.
Yeah, it is a workout. Have you played the boxing one?
No, I didn't have enough to buy it.
Have you never played it on mine?
I played it on yours and I sucked.
That's just hard. I mean, you get exhausted.
Right.
That one's great.
A lot of stamina is needed.
Yeah. I always regret it whenever I go against the outclassed level because you have to be perfect. You have to always be moving. You have to have your hands up and you have to hit your punches fucking fast.
Damn,
to
because
make
it
damage.
Measures how fast you're moving, right?
Yes, speed and the glove position hit. If you hit the glove like flush, then it'll be maximum damage. The reason I know that is because I went into the boxing bag where you can hit
and it measures.
It measures like how hard you hit. So I was trying to figure out what's the best. You gotta just arches.
I'm excited for when they do full body motion tracking. And then they do like UFC.
Oh my gosh! But how are you gonna be grappling against somebody that's not there?
Well, I mean, like kicks,
Oh yeah, kickboxing. That'd be sick. Yeah, just put something on your ankles.
Right, because they have full body motion tracking, but I haven't seen too many games.
They have
for
vests. They have some vests that vibrate.
The haptic nerve.
The haptic vests. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have omnidirectional treadmills. But really, it comes down to who. Let's see how long you last on your VR.
Yeah.
Mark my words. We're gonna have this podcast as memory before you start being too lazy to play. You're just like, nah, honestly, I don't want to bust that up. At the beginning, it's always the best time ever.
Right.
It's new. It's exciting. You haven't played this shit before, and it's a new world.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're just like, I'm bored. And you want something next level, which is crazy. I think it's just because we get so used to technology.
Right.
Because the first time
complacency.
The first time me and Isaiah played was in Rexburg at Fat Cats.
I remember you guys talking about that because it's a huge room.
Yeah, they put you in rooms. We played Arizona Sunshine, the zombie game together.
That was such a fun game to play.
Yeah, and it was the funnest shit ever, dude. It was literally like, we were just like mind blown talking about it on the ride home. What the fuck? Virtual reality.
Right. Or the simulation.
It's so crazy. Like that, I didn't even think about that being like, I mean, you imagine maybe like a sci-fi fantasy back in the day.
Like Star Trek. They walk on the holodeck.
Yeah, literally. You're like, what the fuck? Well, I haven't seen Star Trek, but I know that it's like super nerdy and they've done like everything, like science experiment wise.
So like the Orville, it's on Hulu. It's a spoof of Star Trek, but Seth MacFarlane does it.
Who's Seth MacFarlane? He does what else?
He like made Family Guy.
Oh, that's why I know him. Okay, Seth MacFarlane.
Right.
Yeah.
He's an like awesome dude. Amazing singer too. But no, and
what a great guy.
He took things from a bunch of different shows and put them in the movie. So like you don't even notice it, but there's like Star Wars Easter eggs in the middle of the show, and it doesn't even feel like you're watching a spoof of Star Trek.
In what?
In the Orville.
Oh, it's a spoof of Star Trek.
Yeah.
And then there's also Spaceballs. I was thinking Spaceballs.
Yeah,
that's a spoof of Star Wars.
Right.
But it seems like Orville's probably more serious. Or is it? Is it funny?
It's funny all the time, but it's also pretty serious. It's just a very well-rounded show. A lot of people are very controversial about the ending. Some people don't like it, but I'd say it's like classic Seth MacFarlane style of how he does things. He goes against the PC norm of how normal shows go, especially nowadays. But,
like making raunchy jokes and shit.
Right.
Being all not giving a fuck.
Right. And so it's actually funny.
Yeah.
And
I love that. So
that's
that's what catches you by surprise and actually makes you laugh, as when people are daring and you're like, whoa, I can't believe they said that.
Yeah. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I binge watched the whole thing, and I'm excited for when more of it comes out, if it does.
Dude, actually, I want to ask you before we get too far away, because we were talking about Isaiah. So actually, Casey was originally Isaiah's friend, and then I just started hanging out with him all the time. Yeah. And honestly, I just hang out with a lot of Isaiah's friends in general.
Yeah.
More than mine. All my friends doing adult shit. But we got like, so how old are you?
22.
You're 22. I'm 20. Oh my God, you're 22.
Yeah.
See, so people probably think you're older than me.
Yeah, dude. Like when I went to go interview for this job, they're like, "So how many years of trucking experience do you have? We saw you driving around in the parking lot." I was like, maybe a month. I don't know. And they're like, "You look like you've been driving for like 5 years, and you look like you've been driving for 20 years." I'm like, "Great, thanks." I just look old.
Yeah, so they say your physical appearance is more than your skill.
Right. Same with my
Your skill, 5 years.
Right.
Not quite 20 years of experience, though. Still a little bit shitty. Just a little.
Just a little shitty. Yeah.
Yeah, so peanut heads.
Oh God.
What's the origin story there? I got to ask a peanut head to like figure out.
It was just a dumb thing.
Who's the first peanut head?
I think that was Nestor.
Nestor,
Nestor is the King Peanut.
King
In my
Peanut.
phone, his contact is King Peanut Head Nestor. And I don't know where it came from. Oh, it's when he shaved his head. He shaved his head for wrestling.
Oh my, yeah.
And someone was like, your head looks like a peanut.
Have you seen a Proud Family movie
I have not.
with those like peanuts?
I'm gonna have to watch it.
There's a lot of peanut heads in there. They look like a bunch of nesters. So then from then on, it just started spreading, and the whole group got named Peanut Head.
Right.
The peanut heads.
It was, I don't know if it was like a racist thing, but
It was all to make Nestor feel better. Like, oh no,
Right.
we're peanut heads too.
It was like, dude, in 6th grade, we we're talking about a book, and these people in the book were telepathic. And Nestor was sitting there like playing around. He's like, "I can read your mind," and I was like, "No, Nestor, you're telepathetic."
I remember I was calling. Oh, no, continue.
And he's like, "What does telepathetic mean?" And the teacher's like, "I can tell you're pathetic from really far away." You know,
Who was that?
it was what class were we in? It was in 6th grade.
And they can hang.
I can't remember.
They're hanging with the roast.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I think it was Mrs. Newell, the math
Mrs.
teacher.
Newell. She's the shit. She was like a blackjack dealer before.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
she
like,
still
damn.
works in Jackpot, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's still a card dealer.
I've never been dealt by her. I'm gonna be like, by the way, I hope you know how good you taught me math.
Yeah.
+1, -1, -1. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about Taekwondo.
Taekwondo.
When did you start Taekwondo?
Oh my God.
Casey's actually a flexible motherfucker. Besides the way he looks, he'll actually kick you in the head.
big dude, but yeah, I could do a spinning back kick and hit you in the face.
Yeah, when did you start?
So my sister was doing like ballerina stuff. She was at a dance place in downtown Twin when Radio Rendezvous was still there. And I want to say I was 6 or 7. I was sitting in there and I did tap dance for a minute just because I wanted to like be included with my sister, do something, you know.
It was by your choice. You're like, can I do it too?
Well, just because like both of us would have to go.
Yeah.
Or I'd have to go to daycare. And I was like, screw that. I don't want to go to daycare. And so I was like, I guess this could be fun. It's like, you know, some physical activity.
Yeah.
And there were other guys doing it too. So I was like, okay, I guess this is kind of cool. It's not too weird. And so I did it for like 2 weeks, and I was like, no, screw this. I don't want fancy shoes. I don't want to be in tight pants. This is whack. And so then I was just standing outside, you know, kicking rocks, and I'm like, there's ninjas across the street.
No way. This is how you. No way.
Yeah.
This is your origin story of Taekwondo.
My origin story of Taekwondo. I was like, screw dancing. You know, I just like, that's whack. I don't have a musical or a rhythmic bone in my body. You know, I can't dance. And
You do have a rhythmic bone, though. You should hear him sing and freaking play guitar.
I can't do that.
He got a lot of rhythm. He's lying. All right,
I can't
continue.
dance. But I was like, Dad, there's ninjas across the street. I need to see what that is. And so I went in there, and they're like, you want to kick someone's butt? I was like, you know, there are bullies at school, and my dad wanted me to learn how to protect myself because I was a weenie. Like, I'd get punched at recess, and I'd start crying about
No
it.
way.
Oh, yeah, I was the biggest weenie. And I was a huge kid, too. I mean, I was bigger than everyone else my age as a kid, but I was just the biggest weenie. And my dad's like, you need to figure out something. Like, you got to grow up a little bit, you know, protect yourself or not be so soft. So I was like, my dad took me up there, and I just started kicking bags and punching things. And they're like, you want to break this board? And it was balsa wood, But, I punched through it, and I'm like, I just broke wood with my hands. They didn't tell me it was balsa wood. Balsa wood you can just snap with your fingers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the softest wood.
But it built some confidence.
Right. And so I just started going, and I'm going, and they cut us a deal. They said, hey, you get you and your sister in here, we'll cut you a deal, and we'll make it way cheaper for you guys. Because we didn't necessarily have a lot of money either. But my parents wanted me to be included in something, have a hobby. And so the only thing I did was go to school and then Taekwondo. And it was for like 10 years. I made my way up through. I even got into like weapon specialist stuff. So like bow, staff, katana. I ended up, I went to a national tournament in Linwood, Washington. And they gave me a katana to use.
And end him.
Well, no, it was just like, how they have, there's like forms and steps. So the forms was, you just show that you understand all these different moves.
Kanas?
And
They call them kanas?
right. That's like
The performance of it's like showing the skill
Right.
set, not on
Yeah.
somebody, but just in the air.
They just called them forms.
Oh, really?
They tried not to make it too complicated because
Yeah. Sorry to throw this Japanese on you guys.
right. Like half of us were just trying to get through, figuring out what a gi was.
Oh my god. Ge?
How do you spell that?
Gi guy.
Yeah, it was funny, but they gave me a katana and I went through my form and I wasn't paying any attention to like the competition, but they were giving a hand forged katana to somebody who won the competition. And at that point in my life, that was the coolest thing ever. So that's the only thing I did. Like I'd go home with my my training sword and I'd whack on trees and practice my forms, and I won that sword.
No way.
And,
where is it?
Well, I ended up selling it to a friend.
You stupid.
Yeah. it was so dumb. Well, because I quit doing Taekwondo at like 16 because then I started racing. I started racing at like 14, but no, it was...
Something about you, dude.
I was 12.
You get a little obsessed, huh?
Yeah, I do.
You went straight. You're the racing guy, the car guy now, but you used to be the Taekwondo guy.
Right. And I even have a patch. I got to find my gi, but I had a patch where I held a split for 30 minutes on a balance beam.
Oh my God, 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
Were your legs numb?
I didn't care. I was watching Kung Fu Panda on a TV, sitting on a balance beam doing the splits.
You felt like Kung Fu Panda?
Yeah, I was just like, because I was fat, I was chunky. I was
like skadoosh.
Yeah.
So then you get into racing. So you're a black belt in Taekwondo.
Yes. Yep.
Fucking sick, dude. So then you get into racing.
Mm-hmm. Racing was pretty crazy.
What was it? What the hell? So you go from kicking motherfuckers in the face, and then racing is more exciting than that?
NASCAR, yeah.
What was it about it that made us like win?
Well, it's just that I was like unnaturally good at it. I always loved cars.
See, all right, let me say, because I don't know about racing. But I can kind of understand. I can understand because I hear about it. That's like the driver's skill, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to push for the sake of people who wouldn't understand it.
Right.
And myself probably too.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Can't anybody just push the damn gas down and hit it? How do you become a good driver?
Well, have you ever heard the term smooth is fast?
Smooth is fast? Or slow is fast? Or slow is smooth, smooth is fast?
Yes.
So it's about easing out or what?
Right. It's just a rhythm. I guess you could say it's like dancing or singing a song or playing an instrument. Some people are just really good at it and some people just aren't. You're out in traffic and you see someone do something stupid and it's like, why the heck couldn't you have just done this? People just don't know, or they just don't have that ability. It's a skill set. And so what
about drag racing?
Drag racing is, driver skill definitely has to do with some of it, but that's more of reaction time and how you build your car, because there's a lot of geometry that goes into traction. Because
how much of it is reaction time versus how much of it do you think is the car build?
That's it. It just, I'd say, really depends on the race, but you have to have a good driver. Because most people are battling for hundredths of a second.
I hear that they recommend to do so I was up in northern Idaho with my friend Chapman from the Marine Corps, and his mom took their dad's Chevelle to a drag strip.
Oh, cool.
This past Sunday.
Yeah.
And she won in her powder puff division, got this trophy and stuff. That's awesome.
Wow.
But she never know. They were like scared for her to do it. Are you gonna run too wall and shit? And she was explaining to me on how it was gonna go. But she was saying that they told her not to go from 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot on the gas, to just do the normal way you drive, with 1 foot on the brake, and then when it's as you pull up and you stop, and then when it switches, same foot off the brake onto the gas.
Makes it simpler.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that that's probably just a beginner thing, or do you think you should do double feet?
Like driving on the street, it's for people that understand it. You can react faster if you have both feet. But the problem is when people panic, is they tense up, and so there's actual statistics to this. But people that get in crashes that have both feet on the pedals, when they tense up, when they get scared in a situation, they'll straighten both legs at the same time, and so they'll end up stabbing their gas pedal and doing some damage to something.
Okay, how do you know if you're a person that won't?
That's the thing, is it's really hard to know until you get in that situation,
and then you just plug it up. Well, I guess I'm not a 2 foot person,
right? I mean, and you can train that out for sure. Like when I started racing, my dad just noticed he got a mining claim down in Nevada, and I was like, I want to drive your car, because it was a stick shift, and I had, the Fast and Furious movies were coming out, and I was like, I want to do that. That's cool. And so I'd watch Tokyo Drift. I'm like, well, you can't drift a front wheel drive car, because to do a proper slide, to get good angle, make it look good, you need a rear wheel drive car. So I was like, what if I take this front wheel drive car and put it in reverse? Because then the weight is being put on the front tires, and then steering it, I can control it. And I was like 11.
But you don't. But okay, so the problem though, like the rear wheel drive, the steering,
right.
How does that work?
So it's like driving a forklift, but with more power. You're just looking in your mirrors instead of.
But are you even drifting or just turning sharp?
No, because if you go fast enough, all four wheels will slide.
So it's about hitting that and then just jerking it, and then do you lift the brake? Walk me through a rear wheel drive regular default drift.
Okay, so depending on how much horsepower you have, like in my Chevy pickup, my C10.
Could I paint the scenario a little more specific?
Paint the scenario.
So how about automatic? Can you do it in automatic, or do you need to have a manual?
No, it's easier in a manual, but I've drifted in an automatic.
Okay, so how would you in automatic first?
Okay, so let's say I'm driving just a Camaro, not a bunch of horsepower, not crazy handling car. I'm going to come into, let's say I'm doing a left corner. I'm going to come to the left side, and I'm going to transfer out.
So you're coming into the inside and then go out right at when the turn's showing up, you go to the out?
Yeah, probably a good 100 feet from the corner. You're going to want to come out.
Okay. And
then you rip your e-brake.
Do you think there's a minimum speed required?
I'd say about 40 mile an hour.
Okay.
Which seems really fast for a corner.
Yeah, that seems fast as fuck.
But, normally in a corner, you're staying within your lane, and you're just trying to make it, slow and smooth.
And how big of a parabola, if you, what would you call it? The angle. How big of a corner should it be? Like a 90-degree
Yeah, like
turn?
a 90-degree corner.
Oh, shit.
So like an average, intersection.
Okay.
You're going to be wanting to do about 35, 40 mile an hour entrance.
Okay.
Okay. You can go faster depending on your vehicle, but 35 to 40 mile an hour. And in an automatic, I forgot there's no clutch, but you don't have to worry about that, which is nice. But what you can do is rip the e-brake. So you turn out about 100 feet, you're going to turn out.
Okay.
And then you're going to rip the wheel in.
Jam it
really
towards the
tight.
turn.
Yes, and floor it.
Okay.
At the same time.
To bring your back around.
And your tires will break loose. If they don't break loose, you'll grab the e-brake. What the e-brake does is it stops the rear tires from spinning, and you'll go into an uncontrolled slide. And then most cars, it's a complicated explanation, but there's a measurement called caster angle on the front tires. So when you move and you let go of your steering wheel, it naturally comes straight, right?
Yeah.
So when you're sliding and you put power to it and you're moving, it happens faster. So once your rear end kicks out and you're full throttle, you release your parking brake and your rear end starts to kick out farther than you think it should, you let go of the steering wheel, stomp on it, and crank it the rest of the way all the way to the right.
Okay.
This is the counter steer. Okay, now your tires are pointing this way.
Oh.
The road is this way. And then what you do with the wheel is you control how much angle your car has with the road.
Okay.
In a standard
Is it
vehicle,
normally going to flip by itself to the center and then you crank it to the right?
Yeah, but it just depends on the vehicle, of course. But that usually happens faster if you let go of the wheel for a second than if you try to do it manually.
Oh, okay.
So like when I'm drifting, like my old Chevy pickup, I let go of the wheel and stomp the gas pedal, and it'll spin faster to the right than I can do it with my hands. And then I finish cranking it the rest of the way because it's not always going to do it by itself.
And this whole time you're doing it with palms only on the outside? No things. Because I'd imagine the shit would snag your thumb and break it.
Yes, it does. Yeah. And so I just just touch the outside of the wheel when I'm doing it. And then, you're just going to, it's about weight transfer. Because when you see shows like Initial D or Tokyo Drift, they have this really smooth shift as they drive. And that's controlling your weight transfer because it's all inertia and momentum. And so if you hold that turn, eventually you're going to go back in towards the center of the road after you turned. And then your vehicle is going to go back the other way because your wheel's turned all the way to the right. And then you let go again.
And you balance
crank it to the left. And then you're facing this way, going down the other street that you turned onto.
Oh, okay.
So you just make it a fluid motion.
Damn, it's crazy thinking about people doing that over and over on those tight turns, the weaving ones, over and over, just constantly holding that drift.
Yeah, and it's just a smooth motion.
It's got to be kind of like surfing a wave, huh?
Yeah, very similar. Or riding a motorcycle.
You're riding that momentum and that perfect balance point.
Yeah, and you can feel it because you turn the wheel too much one way, and then your rear end starts kicking out too far, and then you have no control. You put too far into it, and you'll turn before you want to.
That
so
sounds just satisfying.
It is very satisfying. So much adrenaline happening just all at once, and it feels like you're just riding a silver line of ecstasy. It's so satisfying, smooth. Everything is smooth. I mean, when you turn, you're not getting thrown around in your vehicle if you're doing it right. I mean, when you watch pro drifters, they're doing like 120 miles an hour into a corner. And
Holy shit.
Yeah, but their cars have like 1,000 horsepower,
super low
drift
suspension.
Tires, everything.
So they're just
heavy. So when they slide into the corner, they have a lot of traction, but they have so much power that it's still pushing it through the corner. And so that has a lot of inertia. You're flying around, bashing into things, and that's super stressful because you smack a wall at 100 miles an hour. It's a little different than tapping a curb at 30.
Yeah. Yeah, at 40 even. It's just
yeah.
When does it get exponentially crazy, huh?
Probably
like 60, I'd say.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So racing, way more exciting. Got your heart rate
super exciting,
going up.
Yeah, and my dad, he saw me drifting his Chevy Aveo backwards in between bushes in the middle of the desert. And he's like, that's like the coolest and weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, because I was like 11. I just got in his car, fired it up, and did a burnout in reverse and just started driving through a bunch of bushes. And he's like, why are you doing that? And I was like, because I wanted to drift, but it's front-wheel drive.
So you were doing it backwards?
Yeah.
You're doing your backwards
I was drifting backwards because I had seen, Cars was pretty popular around that time.
Oh, yeah,
And so I'm like, I'm the world's best backwards driver. You call me Toe Mater.
Oh, yeah, Mater.
I just use my mirrors. And, and so then he calls the racetrack in Twin because he had some buddies that managed out there. He's like, you got a car that my kid can drive? I just want to see how he does on this track. And so I got in a 60 horsepower 1983 Subaru GL, just an absolute shitbox tin can of a car. And I ran that. It weighs nothing though. That car weighs 1,600 pounds stripped, super light. And so power to weight ratio was pretty similar to like higher horsepower Hondas that were heavier cars. And my first 10 laps out there, I was within 0.2 of a second of the fastest guy of that season.
Oh, damn. In that car?
In that car.
What did they say about that? Like, you're just a
They were-
natural, or because
because they're like,
how did you? What was it that you brought to the table?
nothing.
Like,
Just myself.
the moment you could feel the momentum. Do you feel like is
just
that what it was?
Because when I'd play like Need for Speed or something on my Xbox, I'd watch the racing lines.
Oh my god, dude! Are you telling me you feel like you became a prematurely good driver because of games?
Literally, yes, absolutely. Yeah, because people are like, games are gonna make you kill people. Games are gonna make you a bad driver. But no, I watched the corners, and so I started playing Need for Speed, I noticed that if I weight transferred the car better into the corner, the momentum would carry the car in, and I wouldn't need a bunch of traction, and I could put more speed into it. And so I was faster.
Props to the game makers for making the mechanics legit.
Right. Yeah, for real. And so I just took that into real life. I saw the corner and I just imagined the racing line. What line am I going to drive through this corner with a bank on it that I can put the most power to the ground and make it faster? And so I just pretended there was a line on the road, and that's what I drove.
Damn.
And the car just did what I wanted it to do. Because it was an old car.
That sounds like such a little movie scene. I just imagine your dad and like that race guy just watching you going around the track like, my God.
Yeah. They put a helmet on me, a neck brace. They strapped me in, put my window net on, made sure my roll cage was solid, and sent me out there. I'm like, I can do this? And they're like, yeah, why not? You paid for it,
Oh, you guys bought the car?
Well, after I was done, the guy was like, you want a NASCAR license? I was like, I can get a license to race.
How old are you?
Fuck yeah. I was 12.
Oh, what? Oh, so it's a racing license to go onto the track.
Yeah, you get a NASCAR license, and then you can legally sign up to race for any division of NASCAR.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So drifting, we talked about automatic. I'm imagining with that process, you're just dumping the clutch, like you're popping the clutch, like almost like a wheelie on a bike.
Yeah.
On the turn to lose control of your back.
Not necessarily. So like with a manual you're talking about?
Yeah, on a manual on a drift.
So manual's a little more complicated. You still want to use the e-brake, but the transition into the corner is easier with a manual because you can select a gear where you're going to have the most power and control at the same time. And then what you can do is put the clutch in and rev it up.
What, 2 or 3 for you? Or is that
so
the higher?
If you're doing about 30, 40 mile an hour, you're going to want to be in about second to third gear.
Okay.
And so third gear, if you want to be able to accelerate out of the corner and pick up speed, probably do about third gear depending on the gear ratio of the car and whatnot. But yeah, so
and
let's
speed,
say,
I guess, right?
Yeah, let's say I want to accelerate out of the corner because I have a long turn after a 90. I'm going to put it in third gear. I'm going to do the same transition. I'm going to turn in about 100 feet from the corner. I'm going to turn out. I'm going to rip that e-brake, turn in really tight. I'm going to put the clutch to the floor. I'm going to stab the gas pedal to the floor so it revs up.
All right.
And then I dump the clutch, which just violently spins the tires. And then I'm just going to hold the throttle at that position that just feels good. Because the more throttle you put in, the more inside the corner you're going to go. The more you let out the throttle, the more outside the corner you're going to go.
Okay, so technically you're dumping it and then you're easing off the gas.
Yes.
To find the sweet spot.
Find the sweet spot.
Okay.
And then you steer position. So gas pedal is in, out. Steering is your angle.
How do people burn out, like on a bike? How do you burn out on a bike?
Bike is a little complicated.
On cement.
Right. It's a little complicated because your throttle and your front brake are on the same hand. And like, I'm not confident enough to do it on my bike just because it's such a heavy bike and it's just very clumsy.
You're going to pop a wheelie on that big boy.
Yeah. That bike's got a lot of power and it's heavy. And I got a good tire on the back, so it's got traction. So I'm gonna go try to, dump the clutch, and it's just gonna grip up and the bike's gonna shoot off. And I'm gonna lose it.
You probably need a little bit of shittier tires, huh?
Not necessarily.
A little more slick tires.
Or just more power. More raw power and a fatter front tire. Because my front tire is really skinny. It doesn't have a big contact patch.
I wonder if it's so you're holding the clutch down and you bring the throttle up really high.
Yeah.
And then you grab the brake and let go of the clutch.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you're doing.
And it's got just has to be able to not grip and just purely break through it and start spinning.
Yeah. But
wow, that's scary though.
It is scary because like if your front tire lifts at all, you're screwed.
Whoa.
Yeah, right. You do a backflip with your motorcycle.
World star.
Yeah, live feed. You know.
Yeah. What a dumbass.
Yeah.
This guy don't know. He probably drives a Mustang.
Yeah. But and then it's good to have weight on the front end of the bike, so you don't want to be sitting on the back because the more weight on the tire, the more traction you're going to have.
So kind of lean forward into the bars,
into the bars, and then you don't want to have a super skinny front tire because
you need that traction.
And my bike does not have that. It's got a super skinny front tire.
Yeah. Okay. So, I just was wondering. I never even thought about how to do it, but it looks cool as fuck when people are doing it online.
Right.
Dude. What do you think about those Hawaii fires?
Ooh, I've been seeing a lot of conspiracy theories.
Me too.
Have you seen the one about Oprah?
What? No? Was she buying land or something?
Yeah. Because there was a huge wildfire in, I don't want to sound stupid, but somewhere central United States. There was a fat wildfire.
Okay.
And then another time in California. But the houses were lost. And the insurance company just paid him out to move away because it was going to take so long to rebuild the place. And you don't want to live in a place that was freshly just charred.
Yeah. And so, see, this is the thing, though. I imagine that could be intelligent real estate purchases.
Right.
Because it's like you believe that the future of that property will come back, maybe. Is the value like at an all-time low on that property after a disaster, like a stock market crash?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was watching. That's what the guy was explaining in the video. And it's all legal, what's happening, but apparently someone's being arrested for conspiracy because they had the ability to stop a lot of the fires, but the city... Some form of government was withholding that water. Wasn't letting the firefighters take water out and put out those fires.
Yeah, the most conspiracy thing I've seen that some of my friends will send me is heat weapons.
The lasers?
Like laser weapons.
Because you can fine tune a laser to a certain frequency. And I watched another video on this where someone put a massive amount of power into a laser and then made different pieces of wood with different colors on them. And you could tune that laser to not burn red things or orange things or blue things or pink things. And if you notice in a lot of the videos...
It must have a great camera. How the hell does it know from that angle? Like, damn. That must be a super satellite camera.
Right. Well, they just put a massive laser... weapon on the front of like a 757
big ass airplane.
Big ass airplane, and it can destroy electronics on another jet in less than a second from over like 5 miles away.
Yeah, I've seen videos about those kind of fucking weapons. It seems like there's some wild weapons out there. But the thing about the conspiracy on the laser weapons stuff, heat weapons, whatever they're called, that may or may not actually have been involved. I have zero idea. I don't know shit. I haven't even really looked into it that much. But my friends have sent me this stuff. And the thing that they say all the time is like these aluminum melted cars and melted engines next to like blocks and houses and trees that are like undamaged. So it's like a perfect of a line.
Perfect line.
It's like, how was it so hot that it melted a car here, but it didn't even catch
the tree?
Yeah, there's a tree right next to it. It didn't even catch on fire, but this one melted the car.
I saw a bunch of different videos, and I noticed that there were, like, everything that was blue wasn't burnt. And so this video so there's like a bunch of umbrellas that are like sitting on the beach. You know, you go to a resort and there's umbrellas out for people that are just sitting in there and don't want to get sun on them. And they're blue, but there's red ones right next to them that are burned, absolutely scorched. And then there's cars in the street, and there's a blue car sitting right next to a red car, and the red car is completely melted, and the blue car is perfectly fine.
Let's go. Let's just jump down the conspiracy rabbit hole for a second.
Yeah.
Imagine if the rich people were told like a fucking Moses story, like paint the lamb on your door,
Yeah.
blood on your door, so your firstborn doesn't die
For the Passover.
Yeah, the Passover. What if they were like, make sure your shit's not blue, or it's gonna melt?
Right. And
the blue was getting melted or not melted?
The blue was the only thing that wasn't getting melted.
Oh, so blue was
blue was the blood of the lamb.
Yeah, blood of the lamb.
And then the government Passover.
The government Passover, and then the real estate market opened up.
Yeah.
No, that definitely sounds pretty ridiculous. But
right.
The fucking thing I did see was the press conference with the sheriff and stuff, and they were like, oh my god! The reporters were like, why didn't you like use the sirens, the tsunami sirens, like the emergency sirens?
Yeah, because they have a lot of those.
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't know there was a fire until it was too late, and they got burned up, and the body count's just going up.
Crazy, because like if a fire happens here, I get a Amber Alert on my phone, and it says there's a fire happening in the South Hills, which is not going to affect me here.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know, but I would imagine they did that.
Right.
But they could have also put on those sirens, and the reason the sheriff guy had given to the reporter was like, well, we were concerned that we have trained the public to responding to that siren as a tsunami, which would have made them go uphill into the fire.
Right.
So we didn't use it because we thought they would have ran to it, and everybody was arguing. I'm pretty sure people would have saw that there was a fire and not gone to the fire.
Right.
And they were like standing by it really hard, and that's where I was like, dude, come on, just say honestly.
People aren't that stupid.
Well, it's like the fact that they're doubling down on it is what is the problem. I feel like they should just respond, going, you know what, maybe you're right. This is where our thoughts were when it was happening, and this is why we made that decision. But on hindsight, now that we have clear mind, and hindsight's 2020.
Right.
I think maybe we should have done that. That's our mistake. I feel horrible that people died. Saying something like that.
Right.
People would be like, "Oh, they're on our team," but they're like, "No, we did the right thing. We did not put that siren, and we're standing by that."
It's like how jet fuel can't melt steel beams,
Well, and
they stuck to that.
Oh my gosh.
Same situation.
Yeah, I don't know. That one just seems like such a rabbit hole. But honestly, after the Gulf of Tonkin and like all these other JFK, all these things where it's just like the facts come out that there's clearly everybody knows. Even look at Epstein. Like there's clearly
something going on.
The CIA and there's a higher powers that are really running this shit.
Right.
And president's probably just a puppet. Mm-hmm. And we're in a weird, crazy time where corruption is starting to get the blanket, revealed, and we're going, wow, look how fucking crazy. This isn't what we thought it was.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't even know. Probably 9/11. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, part of this Hawaii thing bothers me, because, less things happen and the whole country, the whole world hears about it. And I can't tell you a single news station where I've seen that being talked about. Like just watching TV. Yeah. I
don't watch mainstream media, do you?
Well, like my mom does. Oh. So I'll go to her house I'll go to her house to do my laundry, and she's watching the news, and it's just normal stuff. But, like lesser things have happened and it's blown up all over the news.
There's clearly narratives being driven where it's like there's a certain story they want you to know on those mainstream ones. So
and there's an island burning with thousands of people on it.
Did you see BJ Penn freaking out on the governor?
No.
BJ Penn getting all mad, being like, what the hell? You guys are just trying to do pretty much you guys are just trying to be politicians. That's not what Hawaii's about. We need to be like sticking together. It's not about winning the next, election. This is about sticking together, helping people, and things like that. And it's a really cool thing. I give props to him. I think everybody. I mean, look at the North of Richmond song.
Yeah.
The fact that shit surpassed like Taylor Swift, didn't it pass Taylor Swift for #1 song?
Yes, it did.
It's just this like hillbilly dude, recording a song with his dogs around him and shit. And I'm like, dude, what does that seem like? What symptom is that revealing of a society when that type of song surpasses pop culture? What is the society thinking? 47 million views in like a week or something? Yeah,
it's just something like that. It shouldn't ring home to that many people, but it did. And that's what was so huge about it.
Bosco, go. What's up, babe? Looking cute. It's all good. Yeah. Okay. So presidential candidates. Oh, actually, no. I want to ask you about. Have you seen about Trump's lawsuit? It's like kind of going on right now.
Yes, I have. Yeah, and how he's going to be in court for the entirety of his campaign.
Yeah, and he supposedly can't talk about any of it on social media.
Right, which is going to be weird because literally everywhere he's going to go, he's going to be asked about it. Yeah. And he just can't talk about it.
I don't know enough details about that, so honestly, I can't even fucking I have to look into it because honestly, it's so hard to find the truth nowadays. Who even knows if what you're looking at that sounds most reasonable? Who even knows if that's actually legit? What it is?
Well, it's sad that we can find more truthful information from the SpongeBob news anchor.
Well, do you follow that page?
Yeah, of course I do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because it seems like that's the only place where I get real information that's like up to date and just not selected and picked out of the big things that are happening.
But what if, honestly, you're right, if they show two perspectives, that's nice. Usually when they go, what are Democrats saying? What are Republicans saying? And they
that's
let you figure it out. Yeah, like Real News, No Bullshit. I like them too. Let me ask you this. What do you think a person should live like if he lives in a world, thinking about, the AI coming up where you can have fake images, fake videos, and like deep fakes, fake voices, like all this, where you don't even know what the fuck's real anymore. And what if let's just pretend, what if a super AI intelligence becomes cognitive and is able to replicate whatever media it wants and mass span it across all our phones and show us a reality on our phones that we never see the reality on our phones out in real life.
Right.
We're living in the reality that we see on our screens. And the fact that everyone has their own algorithm kind of hints that everyone has their own version of reality. Yeah. So what
it's already happening?
And what if someone's painting an image out there with all deep fakes and stuff, and let's say Biden's sitting in the office, what is this video of me going around? It's not even me.
Right.
And there's just something's taking over. Okay, let's say you live in that world. Yeah. How does one who doesn't know what's real anymore, they can't trust anything, how do you go about living your life?
It's kind of like how I already do things. I mean, it's interesting to hear, but it feels like reading a book. Like one of my favorite books I read in ninth grade was 1984.
George Orwell.
George Orwell. And I've read that book every year since I've read it the first time.
Have you read Animal Farm?
Yes. That was another one we were forced to read.
Do you remember the donkey character in Animal Farm?
No, that was so long ago.
Yeah, so the donkey doesn't get mentioned much. He's the oldest on the farm. Been there the longest.
Oh, the wise guy.
Yeah. And the wise guy. That sounds like a diss. Oh, the wise guy.
No,
I hear you're the wise guy.
Because they dissed him so much in the book because he's an old guy.
Yeah, he doesn't get involved with things. They're getting all political. All the animals, they revolt against the farmer. Right. And then the pigs are like, you know what? We're going to run things now. Let's do this right. Yeah. And then they start writing. They make a constitution. And then the pigs slowly change it. Oh, we're actually going to add this. And then add this.
Greedy.
And by the end, the pigs are literally the farmers. They're being ruled again by the farmers. And it's funny because the pigs are kind of a metaphor for politicians. Right. And the donkey, he never really gave a fuck the whole time. Right. And at the end, it's because he's lived so long and he's seen these cycles. And I often wonder, is this just the cyclical behavior of society that we're living in? And is it worth my energy to be so invested in the time now if this is, insignificant in the grand scheme of the cycles of society and the universe in general, I guess?
I think that's definitely true. I don't think you should put your time and energy into politics because that's what they want. Because the more energy you put into that, the less you are into doing, your own thing. Because they want to be able to,
get you to react.
And that's it. It's just like, being a kid. Someone goading you on to do something stupid.
I think also it's a little bit of a hopeless thought, though. Thinking if everybody acted like the donkey in Animal Farm, no one provided resistance against the pigs to take over and rule. Right. Then that's pretty sad reality.
It is.
So there's got to be some. I'll be cheesy here. What's the fucking dog? I fucked it up. The shepherd fucking dog that herds the.
Yeah.
What are they called? The wolf?
Sheepdog.
Sheepdog. That's
Yeah.
what it is, right?
Yeah, sheepdogs.
Sheepdog. I just completely blanked on that.
Right.
That's a hardcore military motivations talk, though. The sheepdog, we're sheepdogs.
Yeah.
They don't like to see wolves, but then when the wolves come out, they want the sheepdogs there to protect
Right.
them.
Yeah.
But they don't like the sheepdog. They don't like the sheepdogs around when the wolves aren't around because the sheepdog reminds the sheep of the wolves.
Right.
They got teeth, just like a wolf. Paws, stance, just like a wolf.
It's like the Second Amendment of the Constitution. It says this is your born given right to defend yourself, against a tyrannical government. Go about your life doing you, because, that's what you got to do. But be prepared, because it's never a bad idea to be prepared for anything. Do you want to go out every day?
Bosco scratching the fuck out of his face, trying to make his nose go bald.
Oh, jeez.
Got allergies. Yeah, I look at the gun situation, like Second Amendment, because I try to break away out of my spot in this kind of society we live in now and imagine what's the future of us, and are we going to be able to be peaceful?
Right.
Are we going to be able to be a peaceful civilization? And does a peaceful civilization, are we all running around Wild Wild West style? And I kind of think of it as masculinity. A lot of people have problems with masculinity these days.
Right.
And I had talked with Clara, and I was saying how I feel like masculinity is like fire. Like, yeah, a lot of people don't like it because it can burn you.
Right.
But it can keep you warm.
Absolutely.
Keep you safe and comfortable. And I feel like as long as we live in a world where there's, bad masculinity, you need good masculinity. If there's bad people with guns, you need good people with guns. If the bad exists still, then you need to have a good version of the same thing that can defend.
Was it?
Otherwise you'll be a tolerant person that gets destroyed by an intolerant person.
Was it Teddy Roosevelt that said, "Speak softly, but carry a big stick"?
Is that what he said?
I can't remember which president that
I've
was.
heard that saying,
I feel like it was Roosevelt.
Sounds like something he'd say.
Right. But, it's the fact of like being prepared, but being humble. There's no reason for me to be some big, scary dude, don't fuck with me. But being more than capable of taking care of myself and my things.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make it a problem, but if it happens, I can take care of me.
You're thinking in defense.
Yeah.
In defense. It's not like I want to defend my life, my pursuit of happiness, and my loved ones.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah, I think we're Idahoans, so I think we're all thinking this way. So except for the few people probably who I met in Portland who are listening to this, they're probably like, no, fuck that. But I would love to have them come and talk about it.
That would be good.
Yeah, okay. Irvina's getting ready for the gym, and it's making me want to go to the gym. So we're going to cut this one early, Casey, and we're going to do this again another time. That's cool, because I have a lot of talking points I really wanted to do with you. But before we go,
do
you have any thoughts on presidential candidates?
Honestly, I've been too worried about myself and haven't even looked into it.
Do you know who Dr. Cornel West is?
No idea.
He's running in the People's Party. And also, maybe next time we can talk about our allegedly DMT experiences.
That would be cool.
So next time we come home, we could dive into that, into those alleged stories.
Yeah, allegedly.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry for cutting it short, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.